Yes, my beautiful people, what is going on? It's Creamslice. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing good. So, you know when you have an image in your head of how you want a build to play out and it just really doesn't, but it's just really weird and unique that you just try and make it work anyway? This is exactly what we have done here. We have made one of the most unique combos in Destiny. It is just all over the place, a mix and match of subclasses. As you can see here, we are mixing the Actium war rig with the Tommy's matchbook. We are getting strand unravel rounds. We are debuffing everything with stasis, making stasis crystals. We have damage resist everywhere. We are igniting champions, and the great thing about this is if you are like me and you love to just hold down the trigger, you will not be disappointed. The amount of rounds we have in the Tommy's matchbook, as we know with Tommy's matchbook, when we overheat the weapon, it gives us a nice 100% damage increase. I have literally not let go of the trigger. We have over 200 rounds in this magazine, guys, with a blend of stasis for crowd control. With the new perks, we can add radiant in there. We can debuff every single champion with stasis. Then the great thing about this build is you can totally mix and match with any subclass of your choice. So if you are a void titan main that loves overshield, you can pair it with that, get radiant, run around with devour, getting that controlled demolition, void explosions everywhere. If you are a strand Steve, you can just string everything up with suspend, debuffing them, grappling them, getting the unravel rounds everywhere, debuffing them. And with stasis and strand, we can add the artifacts in there that gives us that extra damage against stasis and strand debuff targets. This is a behemoth titan back doing what it's supposed to be doing. Diamond lances everywhere. We are just incinerating everything. We are making everything encased, feeding back into our grenade abilities with stasis. You're gonna have so much fun doing it. I thought before I bring it out to you guys, I want to test it in a grandmaster and just look how we get through this first part, which is not an easy grandmaster, let me tell you that. This build is worth a shout in your loadout slot. And if you wanted to take it a step further, I already could have covered a solar build before, but you pair Actium war rig and Tommy's matchbook with solar, you are just an unkillable god. Ignitions, scorch, restoration, the list goes on. I'll go through the build on what I was using with stasis. If you want to use it with any other subclass, it's just going to be how you see the build and how you want to play it. Mix and match with it, guys. But like I said, if you want to see my specific build, I'll show you now. Okay, so we're going to dive straight into the armor perk on Actium war rig. For you guys at home who do not know, auto loading link is the armor perk. Steadily reloads a portion of our equipped auto rifle, machine guns, magazines from reserves. With Tommy's matchbook having 100 rounds in the magazine, you can reach up to and above 200 in the mag. So here is the sweet business, the Tommy's matchbook. It is a personal favorite of mine because this weapon is just all about scorching, igniting. Obviously this season we can stun overload champions as well. And then we have the intrinsic perk, ignition trigger. Sustain fire with this weapon overheats it, increasing the damage, but in turn it burns us, damaging us. You will never die from it, you will just go to critical health, but with all the armor mods and all that good stuff, damage resist, we can just negate that totally. So if you do have the catalyst while ignition trigger is active, our health will recover more quickly, and sustain fire scorches our enemies, leading to ignitions and radiant if you are landing them crits. The aspects and fragments you saw me running in that grandmaster are as follows: dustfield grenade to lock down and freeze enemies in a big radius. We add diamond lance. When we freeze enemies and we deal sustained damage, we can just continue creating diamond lances. You throw your diamond lance, you can stun all 3 champions and shatter everything around you. We were using the Cryoclasm because with the artifacts we're going to be creating stasis crystals. Sliding into them is going to do huge damage on adds as well. Even in your super, which is a really good touch. The fragments are as follows. With the stasis subclass is Whisper of Rending. Primary ammo weapons do increase damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. We have Whisper of Hedrons. When you're freezing everything, you're going to get increased mobility, increased resilience, and increased recovery. Next on the list, we've got our damage resist, which is about 55%. While you are near frozen targets or frozen enemies, we take reduced damage. We've got Whisper of Durance to make our dust field last longer, and we have Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal boosts our grenade recharge rate. Like I was saying, with the artifact perks, we're going to be creating a ton of stasis crystals to feed into our ability loot. So as I was explaining guys before, you can totally take advantage of all 5 subclasses with this build. With it revolving around Tommy's Matchbook and Actium War Rig, it's just an absolute blessing of a combo. Even in endgame content, dealing with champions, it just rips them apart. So when it comes to the armor mods, they will all stay the same even when you are switching through different subclasses, which is an absolute game changer. So when it comes to the armor mods on the helmet, we have Solar and Strand Siphon. We have a Solar Loader to increase the Tommy's Matchbook reload speed. We've got Momentum Transfer, causing damage with a grenade reduces our melee, and Impact Induction, causing damage with a powered melee reduces our grenade cooldown. We then have our Concussive Dampener and Solar Resist. On the boots, we have Elemental Charge, so when we are running any type of subclass, collecting a Fire Sprite, Ionic Trace, Stasis Shards, or a Void Breach, or destroying a Tangle gives us armor charges to use with Solar Weapon Surge. If you don't want to use a recuperation mod in there and you have your survivability down to a T, you could always add another Solar Surge there as well for a 17% damage increase. On the bond, we have Reaper. When we use our class ability, we make an overpower with the next skill, feeding into our Unravel rounds. And then we have 2 bomber mods for increased grenade cooldown. As I was explaining guys, this is a very unique combo. If you're like me and you love spray and play an aggressive gameplay, you will absolutely love this. So quickly what we'll do, we'll go over the other subclasses and what it would look like if you was to run on different said subclasses. So if we take a look at Strand, you could run Drainer's Lash. Activating our class ability will suspend enemies, and then Banner of War for that extra healing, allowing you to run around the battlefield and take less damage. You could add Thread of Continuity to increase your Suspend, Unravel and Sever effects. You could add Thread of Generation to get grenade energy back. Thread of Warding will be even more healing with Woven Mail. And then you could also use Thread of Wisdom. Defeating suspended target creates an overpower, feeding into Unravel rounds. Personally, for me, it was definitely out of Stasis and Solar which I had the best runs with, using the healing grenade on Sunbreaker and then Soul Invictus for restoration, also applying Scorch to enemies. Then for the fragments, I had the best run with Ember of Ashes, will apply more Scorch stats with Tommy's Matchbook. Then we have Ember of Char, our ignition spread Scorch to affected targets. And then we had Ember of Empyrean, with us having a healing grenade and Radiant continually getting solar kills will extend the timers. And then Ember of Tempering, with it being a recovery based build with Tommy's Matchbook. Solar weapon final blows grant you and your allies increased recovery. If you wanted to run Sentinel, you've got Vortex grenades to debuff your enemies. You've got Bastion there for an overshield for endgame content. You've got Controlled Demolition. Hitting an enemy with a void ability makes it volatile. So you'd have volatile and Scorch ignitions and all that good stuff. Then you could have Echo of Starvation, When you create orbs of power, you pick that up. You will have unravel rounds as well as devour active. You could add to that with echo of persistence, increasing your overshields and devour. I'd like to use echo of vigilance, defeating a target when our shields are depleted gives us a void overshield. And then we have echo of undermining to debuff our enemies by 15%. So all of these subclasses would work absolutely amazing. Even with arc, you've got jolt, ionic traces and all that good stuff. So yeah, thanks for checking out the build, guys. I'm creamslice. Hope you really like it. I'll see you in the next one.